Good evening, YouTube. So for the last hour or so, hour and a half, I'm bouncing around, navigating through YouTube, jumping on to all different types of religious web or YouTube channels, as well as atheists and stuff like that. But I went into these all with an agenda. It wasn't so much to watch your guys' videos and other videos. It was more or less to see something with comments, the behaviors of people. And I found out something really interesting, something I wasn't completely expecting, but it was an interesting phenomenon, if you will. Most of the people who are extremely vulgar on all of the different religious and non-religious backgrounds, the most vulgar are the ones who seem to be a little afraid to actually do videos themselves. Most, not all. Most. And that was like, wow. It's really, you can really have a lot of balls when nobody can really see you. And that just blew my mind. I mean, we're talking about vulgar Christians, extremely vulgar, attacking atheists and Muslims and what have you. But they won't even show their own face. And the other way around, some of the most vulgar of atheists, it's like, wow, you guys aren't showing it. And that part I thought was interesting, but then I was thinking a little bit more. I like to do that from time to time. And it's like, what the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? First of all, we've got each other's defenses way up. Way up. You're not going to get anybody to listen to you when you're just hitting them with an onslaught of insults. I mean, going through a lot of these Christian pages and stuff and seeing, kiss my ass, you suck, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. Even though they're coming through and actually dropping actual points that are relevant to what was being discussed in the video, they're being an asshole. Nobody cares what an asshole has to say. You immediately shut them out, whether the point is valid or not. If we were actually more respectful to each other, then there'd be a lot more listening. It's crazy. I mean, as far as you Christians go, you can change the vast majority of atheists over if you just show proof. And I'm not talking testimonials and stuff like that, because those are all through the view of that one person. Testimonials are not experience that you're actually able to hand over to the other person. You would actually be able to get them if you could show them actual proof. And you will not be able to get a whole bunch of people. It would have to be one at a time. You can do it. It is done. Atheists, you will not ever be able to walk into a church backed with all the scientific data that you can possibly ever get, and all the logical arguments and philosophical arguments that support your side. You can never walk into a church with all that and expect to change anybody. They're all right there. They are supporting each other. It's not going to happen. But just like with Christians, you can change one at a time. You would be able to change one at a time if you weren't such assholes about it. It's crazy. I mean, seriously, nobody wants to listen. And even if you come in there respectful, you've already had like 15 or a dozen or 2 dozen or 3 dozen people before you who may agree with your view, who have already come in there being an asshole. Your view being like theirs, it's already seen that you're support of them, so you're not going to be listened to. What if we tone this down a bit? I mean, are we actually interested in having discussions, or are we interested in just being assholes? I myself am more interested in discussing the finer points of it all. Now, I do get a little emotional in there, whether I'm just being goofy or extremely pissed off. But I try to be respectful. I try to play with it and make light of it. I try not to be overly aggressive. I still get blocked. But what if we actually tone this down a bit? Seriously. I'm not talking about abandoning your beliefs or your views or ideas, but what if we actually approached each other with a little bit more respect? I mean, we're able to get along on so many other things. I mean, how many theists out there are Packers fans or I'm sorry, I don't follow sports, so it's the ones that I hear in my area most often, Packers and Vikings and stuff. I'm in the Midwest. There's so many atheists as well as Muslims and Christians. You guys get along when it comes to agreeing on the same team or likes. You agree on all those other things, and you can be the best of friends. But when it hits this one thing, you guys, all bets are off. Start on some common ground. I'm going to try and find a Christian magician. Start with that and move through it from there and see if we can actually exchange ideas. Starting with that, a common ground, and moving into something interesting. I actually challenge you guys to do the same. If you guys are going to go out and you want to hack into somebody, or hack on somebody, not into, hack on as in give crap. If you're a sports fan, find a Christian who is a sports fan. Engage in conversation. Start with common ground. Gain some respect for each other, and then move into ideas. At least then you'd actually start out by listening to each other instead of being on the battlefield. That's just an idea that I was thinking about because of everything that I was seeing. Anyway, I had to get that off my chest because it was bothering me. Thank you for letting me vent. Somehow magic. I'll talk to you all later.